The battlefield was silent when Commander Rylan Voss arrived, and that silence felt wrong. Every war zone he had stepped into before was full of smoke, sparks, and the echo of machines dying, but this one felt empty. Only cold wind moved between the broken metal husks scattered across the plain. Rylan's boots pressed into ash as he walked, scanning for any sign of life. His small salvage shuttle hovered behind him, lights blinking like nervous eyes. He kept the cockpit open in case he needed to retreat fast. The ground was littered with pieces of armor and shards of metal that once belonged to war machines far more advanced than anything humans could build. Rylan knew this area had seen a fight between two alien factions, one side rumored to be the Illyrians, a warrior race no human had ever met face to face. But someone had sent a distress beacon, a faint signal, weak, almost fading. Rylan followed it across the field until he saw a large shape lying half-buried under collapsed wreckage. It looked like a body, but also not a body, more like a suit grown out of metal and bone. The armor shimmered with pale blue veins that pulsed slowly, like a fading heartbeat. He approached carefully. "If anyone can hear me," he called out. "I'm not here to harm you. I'm responding to your distress beacon." No reply. Rylan crouched and brushed away dust from the armored shell. The suit had cracks along the ribs and across the shoulders. A deep slash ran from the helmet down to the abdomen, as if something had tried to cut the wearer in half. But something inside the armor still breathed, very faint, very weak. He tapped the side of his helmet. "Ship. Scan life signs." A soft beep replied. "One life detected. Critically unstable. Unknown species." Rylan took a slow breath. "All right then," he muttered to himself. "Looks like I'm doing this." He reached for the emergency release points along the armor. They didn't look anything like human tech. They pulsed like living things, connected with the creature inside. But the signals on his wrist screen were clear. If he didn't get the armor off soon, it would collapse inward and crush the occupant. Using his multi-tool, he inserted a thin blade under one of the fractures and softly pried. The armor resisted at first, as if it did not trust him. Then it let go with a weak, sad hiss. A small piece came off, light as thin bone. "Okay," Rylan whispered. "You're not going to make this easy." He continued working, slowly removing shattered plates one at a time. Each piece felt like removing something personal, something sacred. He didn't know much about this species, but everything about the armor suggested it meant far more than simple protection. It was too intricate, too organic, too alive. Under the first layers of armor, he found a hint of the person inside. Smooth gray skin, almost silver in the dim light. He could see faint blue patterns that glowed softly, maybe veins, maybe markings. The figure's breathing was shallow and unstable. As he lifted another broken fragment, the body inside shifted slightly. A soft sound escaped the helmet. Not words, more like a pained breath. "You're alive," Rylan said gently, leaning closer. "Good. Keep holding on." He didn't expect an answer, but he kept talking anyway. Sometimes people fought harder to stay alive when they heard a voice. After several long minutes, he removed enough pieces to see more of the alien's form. The armor had been tightly bonded to the body, almost fused. The damage was bad. Internal bleeding, bruising, burns. Rylan worked as quickly as he could without causing more harm. Finally, he reached the chest plate. It was the most damaged part, and also the most dangerous. The whole piece was cracked down the middle, pushing inward like a dying shell. If he didn't remove it completely, it could crush the alien's lungs within minutes. He slid both hands under the central fracture. "Okay. This might hurt," he murmured. "But I don't know if you can hear me anyway." He pulled. The armor resisted, then broke free with a sharp snap. A sharp gasp came from inside. The alien's helmet flickered, lights running across its surface. With the chest no longer compressed, the figure inside drew a desperate breath. Weak, shaky, but full. Rylan carefully lifted the helmet away last. Underneath, he saw a face unlike any he had ever seen in his life. Sharp features, almost elegant. Eyes shaped like teardrops with luminous silver pupils. Pale silver hair fell softly around her head, tangled and dirty from the battle. She was beautiful, in a strange, alien way. Not human, but striking. Her eyes fluttered open. She stared at him with confusion and something else, fear mixed with shock. Her lips parted as she tried to speak, her voice barely a whisper. No one has ever undressed me before, human. Rylan froze. He realized how this moment must look from her cultural perspective. He had removed armor that probably held deep meaning. Armor that only someone close to her, someone trusted, was allowed to touch. He raised both hands in front of him. I'm not here to disrespect you, he said softly. I removed your armor because it was killing you, that's all. She blinked slowly, as if trying to understand. Her breathing was still fragile. You removed sacred plates. You touched the inner shell. No outsider touches the inner shell. I didn't know, Rylan said honestly. I'm sorry if I broke any rules. But I couldn't let you die. Her eyes focused more clearly now. She studied his face with almost painful intensity, as if trying to decide whether he was real. You are human, she whispered. Small world, short life, simple people. Her voice trembled. And yet, you saved me. Rylan gave a small nod. Yes. And I'll keep you safe. As long as you need. She tried to lift her hand, but it trembled weakly and fell. He caught it gently, steadying it on her chest. Her eyes widened slightly at the touch, surprised by the softness of his grip. Not forceful, not dominant, just steady and calm. You treat me with care, she said. Not like prey, not like enemy. I don't see an enemy, Rylan told her. I see someone hurt, someone who needed help. Her eyes closed for a brief moment, as if she was processing something heavy inside her mind. When she opened them again, there was a faint glow of emotion that Rylan could not translate. You may call me Saraye, she whispered. Warrior of the Illyrian Skyguard. I'm Commander Rylan Voss, he replied. Human Salvage Division. She let out a faint breath that almost sounded like a soft laugh. A salvager. And yet you salvage a life. Not metal. Rylan checked the portable scanner again. Her life signs were low but stabilizing. He needed to get her into the ship before her condition turned worse. I'm going to carry you to my shuttle, he said. We need to treat your wounds. She looked down at the scattered pieces of her armor, then back at him. You removed everything, even the heart plate. You hold great responsibility now. I didn't do it for responsibility, Rylan said as he gently slid his arms under her. I did it because it was the right thing to do. As he lifted her, she leaned weakly against him, too injured to resist. But there was no fear in her expression now. Only a deep, unreadable curiosity. You are strange, human, she whispered. Strange and brave. Rylan carried her across the silent battlefield, stepping over broken machines and shattered armor fragments. The wind blew softly around them, whispering through the emptiness. The ship's lights guided him back like a beacon. Behind him, the battlefield remained still. But ahead of him, he had no idea that saving this one alien warrior would change the fate of entire civilizations. Inside the shuttle, he laid her gently on a padded bed. As he prepared medical equipment, Saray watched him with half-closed eyes. You touched my inner armor, she murmured again. My people will not understand. Rylan paused. Then I'll explain it to them. Her gaze softened. Humans. Always thinking they can fix everything. Ha. 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 Not everything, he said with a small smile. Just the things worth fixing. She breathed out slowly, calming, trusting him now, even if only a little. Stay. Close, she whispered. I'm not going anywhere, he replied. And for the first time since the battle ended, the silence around them felt less like emptiness and more like the beginning of something neither of them could yet name. The hum of the shuttle filled the small cabin as it lifted from the battlefield. Rylan kept one hand on the controls and the other ready near the medical kit. Behind him, Saray lay on the padded bed, her breathing slow but steady. Her pale silver eyes were half open, watching every movement he made. She didn't look afraid anymore, only curious, alert, confused about this strange human who had saved her without asking for anything in return. The shuttle passed through a dust cloud before rising into open sky. The dim light from the twin moons shone on Saray's face, making her skin glow faintly. Rylan checked her vitals again through the scanner attached to her wrist. "Your heartbeat is stabilizing," he said. "You're recovering faster than I expected." "Of course," Saray whispered. "Illyrians do not leave this world easily." Rylan smiled a little. "I'll remember that." She shifted slightly on the bed, wincing at the pain in her ribs. Rylan immediately stepped closer to adjust the support frame. "You don't need to assist me every second," she said quietly. "I am not helpless." "No," he replied. "But you're injured. Let me help until you don't need it." Her eyes softened again, confused by the kindness. "Your people. You act so strangely. You help even when there is no advantage." "We call it being decent," Rylan replied. "Or human." She looked away, thoughtful. After a long silence, Saray asked, "Why were you on that battlefield? Your humans are not part of our war." Rylan leaned against the wall. "Salvage duty. We pick up fragments, technology, machines, anything left after alien battles. Usually we just grab parts and leave." Soraya gave him a sharp look. "So you were scavenging my people's sacred technology?" Rylan lifted his hands defensively. "Not from living soldiers, and never anything personal, but abandoned machines?" "Yes. We take those. It's how many human colonies survive." Saray relaxed slightly, but he could tell she still didn't approve. "I don't want anything from you," Rylan added. "And I'm not going to take anything of yours. You're not salvage." She blinked, almost startled. "You call me?" "Not salvage." "Of course not," he said. Her gaze dropped to the floor. "But you removed my armor. You touched every piece. That act alone binds you to consequences you do not understand." Rylan frowned. "Is it really that serious?" Soraya nodded weakly. "Armor is part of our identity. It grows with us. To remove it is to see what no outsider should ever see." He looked at her exposed, injured form, vulnerable in ways she clearly felt deeply. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "But if I hadn't taken it off, you would have died." "I know." Her voice trembled slightly. "That is why I do not reject what happened." Another quiet moment passed before she added, "In my culture, when armor is removed by another, the warrior owes a debt. A life debt." Rylan stared at her. "A life debt?" "Yes," she whispered. "It means your life and mine are connected until the debt is paid." "That's heavy." "It is unbreakable." He didn't know what to say to that. He wasn't sure he wanted someone tied to him by some ancient ritual. But he also didn't want to insult her. "We'll figure it out," he said. "One step at a time." A new enemy. The shuttle's navigation screen flashed with urgent warning symbols. "Unidentified ships approaching," the computer announced. Rylan quickly checked the readings. 3 vessels were speeding toward them, fast, sharp, and aggressive. Saray's expression darkened. "Those are not my people." Rylan zoomed in on the scanners. The ships were small, triangular, and moving with unnatural precision. "They're unmanned," he said. "Drones?" "No," Saray whispered. "I fought these on the ground. They do not belong to any known species." "Then who built them?" "That is the question my people could not answer." The drones fired first. Thin beams of blue light shot toward the shuttle. Rylan jerked the controls, sending the ship rolling to the left. The beam grazed the hull, leaving a glowing burn mark. "Hold on," he shouted. Saray pushed herself up slightly, gripping the bed to steady herself. "Let me fight." "You're in no condition," he protested. "I can still give advice," she insisted. "Your human ship is slow. Use the dust clouds, they will break enemy targeting." Ryland swung the shuttle downward into a drifting patch of dust and debris from the battle. The scanners flickered, giving him brief cover. The drones circled outside the cloud, searching. Sirey pointed weakly. Their sensors are above. If you rise suddenly from below, you may escape. All right, he said. Let's try it. He angled the shuttle up sharply. The moment they broke through the top of the cloud, he pushed the engines to full power. The drones tried to adjust, but they overshot their target. We're clear, Rylan announced, but Sirey shook her head. No. They will follow. They do not stop. And they mutate. Rylan blinked. Mutate? They change shape, she said. During battle, they adapt to attacks. They repair themselves. They evolve. Rylan stared at the scanner in disbelief. What kind of machines are they? Rylan stared at the scanner. Ancient ones, Sirey whispered. We think they are older than my people. Older than yours. Older than any empire alive. A cold feeling settled in Rylan's stomach. Then who turned them back on? Sirey closed her eyes. We do not know. Outside, the drones were circling again, closing in like wolves. A forced alliance. Rylan knew he couldn't outrun them forever. He turned to Sirey. Your people, can they help? Can we call them? Sirey hesitated. A shadow crossed her face. If I contact them, they will come. But they will punish me. Punish you? Why? Because you removed my armor. Her voice was quiet but firm. Because an outsider touched what is sacred. They will say I am corrupted. Rylan clenched his jaw. That's unfair. I saved your life. In my people's eyes, she whispered. That does not matter. Rylan stared at her. Do you want me to call them or not? Sirey looked at him with those silver eyes full of conflict, full of heavy tradition and pride and fear. Finally, she said, send the signal. We have no choice. Rylan activated the emergency beacon on her wrist. A soft pulse of light spread through the cabin as the message left the shuttle. Within minutes, a massive shadow descended from above an Illyrian ship, larger than anything Rylan had ever seen. It looked like a silver leaf floating in space, glowing with blue lines of energy. They arrived fast, Rylan said. They always do, Sirey murmured. The drones shifted their attention to the new ship. Blue beams shot toward it. But the Illyrian vessel activated a shimmering shield that absorbed the impact like ripples on water. Sirey sighed in relief. We are safe. But Rylan didn't feel safe. He didn't like how she said we. The confrontation. When the Illyrian ship locked onto the shuttle with a docking beam, Rylan gently lifted Sirey and carried her toward the hatch. She was still weak, but she gave a small nod when he asked if she was ready. The hatch opened, and bright blue light flooded the shuttle. A team of armored Illyrian warriors stood outside, tall and imposing, their armor intact, and shining like they had never seen war. The leader stepped forward, a tall warrior with dark silver markings on his face. His voice was cold. You have broken sacred law, human. Rylan glared at him. I saved her life. You removed her armor, the warrior replied sharply. That act alone demands judgment. Sirey lifted her arm weakly. He saved me. He honored me. I give him my life debt. And Urwaya. I lifted her arm. He saved me, lifted her arm. The warriors gasped. Even the leader recoiled. You gave him your life debt? The leader whispered. Yes, Sirey said. He is my shield bearer now. Rylan blinked. Excuse me, what? The leader turned toward him. Expression unreadable. A life debt is rare, he said slowly. And a shield bearer is sacred. This changes everything. Rylan swallowed. That sounds complicated. The leader nodded. Very. Behind them, the drones returned more than before, hundreds of them darkening the sky. The leader gave a sharp command. Take Sirey inside. Human, come with us. Your debt binds you to her now. Rylan followed, unsure of what he had just become part of, but knowing one thing clearly. This was only the beginning. The Illyrian ship's interior glowed with a pale blue light that seemed alive. Ryland stepped cautiously, still carrying Saray in his arms. The walls pulsed faintly, almost as if the ship itself were breathing. He glanced at Saray, whose silver eyes were now sharper, more alert, though she was still weak from her injuries. Her warriors had led them through the hallways quickly, but in silence. Ryland could feel their judgment, like a weight pressing against him. He had saved Saraya's life, yes, but in doing so, he had violated customs he barely understood. Finally, they entered a large chamber. The ceiling stretched high, lined with glowing circuits that formed intricate, moving patterns. Several Illyrian elders stood at the center, their expressions stern, as if they had been waiting for this moment. Saraya, the tallest elder, began, his voice smooth and deep. "You have broken sacred law. Your armor has been removed by an outsider. You must submit to the ritual of purification." Saray's gaze did not waver. "Elder Narius, I owe my life to this human. He is my shield-bearer now. The ritual may wait." Elder Narius's silver eyes narrowed. "The ritual cannot wait. You have dishonored your people. No exception is allowed." Ryland felt the tension like a tightening rope. "Wait, what ritual? She's injured. She can't." "You do not understand. Human," Narius said sharply. "This is not simply a matter of pain or injury. To refuse the ritual is to risk the spiritual balance of her entire clan." Saray placed a trembling hand on his arm. "Ryland, trust me. This is how it must be." Ryland nodded slowly, though uneasily. He wasn't sure if he fully understood, but he knew he had no choice. The Illyrians would not take her without his cooperation. And he couldn't let them hurt her. A secret revealed. The elders led them deeper into the ship, through corridors that shimmered as if alive. Ryland noticed subtle markings along the walls, lines and symbols that pulsed in sequence, almost like a language made of light. Saray explained softly as they walked. "These patterns are older than our recorded history," she whispered. "They trace back to the first Guardians, who created the machines that now threaten our galaxy." Ryland frowned. "The drones? The ones attacking us back on the battlefield?" "Yes," she said. "They are remnants of a long-lost civilization. We believed them inert. But something awakened them." He paused. "Something, or someone." Saray's eyes darkened. "We do not know. But they are adaptive, dangerous, and they are spreading." The elders stopped at a wide observation deck. Outside, Ryland could see stars and distant planets. And between them, dozens of drones were moving in strange, synchronized patterns. The Illyrian ship glided toward them, cutting through space with astonishing speed. Elder Narius gestured toward the drones. "We have been tracking their movements. If they are not stopped, they will devour worlds indiscriminately. Your species, humans, will not survive. And neither will ours." Ryland swallowed. "So, you need my help?" Narius's gaze softened slightly. "Perhaps. Only someone not bound by Illyrian customs could interface with the ancient control system. And you, human, are already linked to Saray through the Shieldbearer Pact. That connection may allow you to survive the process." Saray looked at him. "It is true. We are bonded now. We must act together." Ryland shook his head. "I don't even know how to interface with an alien system." "You will learn," Saray said, voice calm. "And I will guide you. We have no time for hesitation." The Forge World. The ship entered a hidden star system, cloaked by energy fields that hid it from scanners. Ryland peered through the observation deck's translucent wall. A vast world spun below dark metal and glass, glowing with strange energy. The surface was covered in structures resembling factories, sprawling in every direction. "This is the Forge World," Saraya explained. "The drones are built here, repaired here, and controlled from here. Nobody has set foot on this planet in centuries. It is forbidden to outsiders." Rylan felt a chill run through him. And you want me to go down there? Yes, she said simply. We must enter the central core. Only there can the drone's commands be stopped. Only there can the ancient AI be reached. He glanced at the elders. Narius's expression was serious but patient. You will not go alone. Sarai will accompany you. Her life is tied to yours now. You must protect each other. Rylan nodded slowly. All right, let's do it. Into the heart of the forge, the landing shuttle descended slowly through dense clouds. Sparks of energy danced across the dark landscape below. The forge world was not natural, it seemed almost alive, with veins of blue light running across its surface, pulsing in rhythm with some hidden heartbeat. Rylan gripped the shuttle controls tightly. Sarai leaned beside him, pointing out safe paths through the energy fields. They adapt, she warned. The machines sense interference. Move carefully. Below, massive doors opened in the mountains, revealing a vast interior. They entered carefully. Inside, the walls glowed with the same blue patterns as the ship. A deep hum reverberated in Rylan's chest, a sound that seemed both mechanical and organic. This is it, Sarai said softly. The central core. Rows of drones moved in formation around the chamber. They did not attack immediately, only observing. Rylan realized they were waiting, studying the newcomers. Sarai stepped forward, placing her hand on a control panel. They will not harm us if we approach correctly, she said. The system recognizes her presence. And now, you, human, are part of the bond. Rylan nodded, stepping closer. He could feel the weight of responsibility settle on him. This was not just a mission, it was survival for both species. The pact tested, Sarai led him to the interface platform. It was a circular structure, walls lined with glowing symbols. At its center was a pedestal, with a translucent core pulsating with bright blue energy. The AI inside will test us, she explained. It wants to know our intentions, our trust, our bond. Only together can we succeed. Rylan swallowed hard. How do we show it that? Sarai smiled faintly. By being unarmored, by being open, by trusting each other completely. He hesitated. Unarmored? You mean, like back on the battlefield? Yes, she said. The bond we share is proof. It will allow the system to accept both of us. Rylan glanced at her, feeling a strange mix of anxiety and awe. She had trusted him completely in the field, despite being exposed, vulnerable, and injured. Now, she asked him to trust her again. He nodded. Okay, let's do it. Together, they stepped onto the platform. The symbols along the walls began to glow brighter, pulsing faster. Rylan felt a warmth spread through him, as if the system were scanning every thought, every intention. Sarai's hand found his. We are together in this, she whispered. I've got you, he said. The AI spoke, not with words, but with impressions and feelings. It tested their loyalty, their courage, their bond. Rylan felt it probing his mind, asking if he would abandon her, asking if he would protect her at any cost. He answered with intention, with determination. The system shifted, colors flowing along the walls like rivers of light. Sarai's grip tightened. We are doing it, she said. The drones around them paused, lights dimming as if the AI had paused their attack. Rylan realized that the bond, this strange connection forged in battle and trust, was what allowed them to control the system. Finally, the energy in the core flared brightly, then settled. A calm spread over the chamber. The AI had accepted them. The drones slowed, then halted completely. They had succeeded. Sarai sank slightly to her knees, exhausted. Rylan caught her. You did it, he said softly. No, she said, breathing heavily. We did it, a new understanding. As they left the central chamber, Rylan realized something had changed. The forge world, once threatening, now seemed quieter. calmer. The drones no longer attacked. They awaited new instructions. Neutral and obedient. Saray looked at him with a faint smile. You have proven yourself. Not just to me, but to my people. To the AI. To the galaxy. Rylan shook his head in disbelief. I'm just a human salvager. I'm not a warrior like you. You are human, she said simply. And humans surprise the galaxy in ways it never expects. He couldn't help but smile. Guess we make a good team then. Her eyes glimmered with faint amusement. Perhaps. But remember, our bond remains. My people will call me back. There will be judgment. There will be questions. I'll face them, Rylan said. If you're with me, we can face anything. She nodded slowly. Then we prepare for the next step. Together. And for the first time, Rylan realized the bond of a shield bearer was more than duty. It was trust, courage, and hope. The shuttle lifted off from the Forge world, carrying Rylan and Saray back into open space. The drones that had once threatened entire systems now followed them in silent formation, obeying the commands of the AI they had just pacified. The glow of the distant stars reflected on Saray's pale silver skin, and for the first time, she seemed at ease. Rylan glanced at her. You're quiet. I am processing, she admitted. We have changed the balance of many things. My people, the AI, the galaxy. Everything is different now. He nodded slowly. I guess it's not something you just get used to. Saray looked at him with those sharp, thoughtful eyes. No human could understand all of it. But you acted with courage and with honor. That is why you are alive now. That is why we succeeded. End quote. To end quote. Rylan smiled faintly. I think we did it together. Her lips curved into a small, rare smile. Together, returned to the Illyrians. When the Illyrian vessel came into view, Rylan felt a nervous weight in his chest. The ship's arrival would mean judgment, questions, and perhaps anger. Even with Saraya's life debt connecting him to her, he did not know how her people would react. The elders greeted them, standing tall and imposing, though the drones hovered quietly around the ship as a protective barrier. Elder Narya spoke first. You have returned, he said, voice deep and steady. And yet, you bring change. Saray stepped forward. We have stopped the drones. The central AI now listens only to reason. No more will it attack worlds indiscriminately. Humans and Illyrians can now cooperate. There was silence among the elders. Then another, older voice spoke. This is unprecedented. Outsiders have never interacted with the AI. And yet, this human. The elder turned to Rylan. He has done what our warriors alone could not achieve. Rylan inclined his head. I only did what anyone else would have done in my place. I saved her life. That's all. You have done more, Saray said softly. You have shown the galaxy that humanity can act with courage, loyalty, and intelligence. Your species may yet survive. The elders murmured among themselves. Narius finally stepped forward. Saray, you have chosen a human as your shield-bearer. This is rare, and it brings responsibilities. But your judgment has been proven correct. The bond is accepted. Rylan blinked. Accepted? That means what exactly? It means, Narius said slowly, that your actions, human, have earned respect. Your bond with Saray is recognized, and the Illyrians will honor it. Rylan felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He had expected conflict, anger, perhaps punishment. Instead, he was acknowledged. A new alliance. Over the next days, Rylan and Saray worked with the elders to stabilize the drones and teach their systems to recognize human and Illyrian commands. It was delicate work, requiring precision, patience, and trust. Saray guided him through the alien technology, explaining how the drones adapted and learned. Rylan applied human intuition to the AI's logic patterns. Slowly, the systems began to harmonize, responding seamlessly to both human and Illyrian instructions. Humans think differently than we do, Soraya explained. You do not rely solely on tradition. You improvise. That is why you survived the AI's tests. Rylan laughed softly. And you think it's impressive? Yes, she said, smiling faintly. It is rare for a human to act so bravely and wisely. Their partnership grew stronger, not just in survival but in understanding. Rylan realized that courage was not only measured in battle, it was also in trust, patience, and respect for others. The test of leadership. News of their success spread quickly among the Illyrians. Sarai was summoned to the Council of Elders to explain her decision to bond with a human. Rylan followed, understanding that his presence was essential. In the council chamber, Sarai spoke with confidence. The AI has been controlled. The drones obey reason. Humanity has proven itself capable of cooperation, and my shield-bearer has proven himself trustworthy. The elders listened silently, weighing her words. Then Elder Narius spoke. Your choice was bold, Sarai. But the results speak for themselves. The human has shown wisdom, courage, and loyalty beyond expectation. He is accepted as your shield-bearer. Sarai nodded. Thank you, elders. Rylan felt the weight of their acknowledgement. Humans were often underestimated by other species. Yet here, his actions were recognized, valued, and respected. He realized that this was the essence of humanity's strength, courage, ingenuity, and empathy. The final challenge. Even with the drones stabilized and the council convinced, there was one final challenge. The central AI had left a message within the Forge World systems. It warned of dormant machines scattered across the galaxy, waiting to awaken. Rylan and Sarai reviewed the data. These drones are only the beginning, Sarai said. The AI has recorded other systems, hidden and inactive. If they awaken without guidance, destruction will follow. Rylan clenched his fists. Then we prepare. We can't let this happen again. Sarai nodded. Together, human, shield-bearer and warrior. Rylan smiled. Together. They worked with the Illyrians to create a network of communication between humans and Illyrians. Together, they mapped drone activity, established control protocols, and trained both species in cooperation. Each day, Rylan realized more how vital humanity could be to the galaxy, a gesture of respect. When the work was nearly complete, Sarai invited Rylan to a private chamber aboard the Illyrian ship. The room was filled with soft light and quiet energy. You saved me, she said quietly. You acted without hesitation. You risked yourself. All to protect me. That act will never be forgotten. Rylan shook his head. I didn't do it for praise. I did it because it was right. She nodded, her silver eyes bright. Right. That is why humans are unexpected. That is why you survive where others fail. She reached into a small compartment and withdrew a newly forged piece of armor, unlike any he had seen before. It was smaller, symbolic, and light. She held it out to him. For your courage, she said. It is not a weapon, but a symbol. Of trust. Of bond. Of survival. Rylan took it carefully, feeling its weight. Not heavy, but significant. It was a recognition of something far deeper than battle. Honor, empathy, and respect. A new beginning. As they looked out at the stars together, Rylan realized how much had changed. The galaxy was full of danger, yes, but it was also full of hope. Humanity, with its courage and ingenuity, had earned a place among alien civilizations. Sarai turned to him. You have given my people a reason to believe in humanity. And you have given me a bond I cannot ignore. Rylan smiled. And you've given me the same. Not many humans can say they've saved a life and changed the fate of a species in one day. She laughed softly, a sound that seemed to light the cabin. Few humans would understand the responsibility. But you did it without hesitation. Rylan looked at the stars. Then we keep going, protecting the galaxy. Together. Sarai nodded. Together, shield-bearer. And as the Illyrian ship glided through the stars, with drones now loyal and peace restored for now, Rylan understood something profound. Courage, trust, and empathy were what made humanity strong. Not weapons, not power, not numbers, but the choice to act right, even when the stakes were highest. Together, human and Illyrian warrior looked toward the future. A galaxy of danger and wonder awaited, and they would face it side by side, bonded by trust, honor, and the unarmored truth of their hearts.